Hi Henry, how are you doing today?
Just fine, how about you?
I'm doing fantastic. We are going to ask you just a few questions, and I'm excited to show the people of York on livingyork.com exactly what you have to offer to City Council.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to start with, how long have you been in York City? How long have you lived here?
We moved here 40 years ago, 1970.
And what brought you here? What made you think?
My first job.
Your first job. And what was that?
I was in the retail furniture interior design business.
Fantastic. And now we know you're the executive director of the York Symphony Orchestra. Can you tell me a little bit about that and your involvement?
Sure. When I sold my business back in '98, I joined, I took a couple of years off, and then I applied for the job because I was on the board and learned about it. And started. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had management skills, so I just went ahead, and the rest is history. The last 11 years.
We definitely are excited about getting more involved with the York Symphony Orchestra. What are things about the York Symphony Orchestra that you think would be exciting to new people in the area to get them to basically come and experience it?
The New York Symphony is a remarkably talented group for a town this size. We're not in competition with the Baltimore Symphony or Philadelphia Symphony, but we really have a wonderful group of musicians that come from the area. And so it's really kind of unique. You'll be able to see attorneys, veterinarian, teachers, all kinds of people in all kinds of walks of life that are part of the orchestra.
That's incredible. And you're also on the board of directors for Downtown Inc., one of our favorite websites, our favorite companies that has just really changed how a lot of people feel about downtown York. Can you tell me a little bit more about your involvement in Downtown Inc.?
Sure. I'm not on the board of directors there. I'm on a committee called the Public Relations and Marketing Committee. And I joined that because I love downtown. I live downtown. I work downtown. My children went to school at York High, and it's part of my life. It's part of my wife's life. And anything I can do to foster better relationships within our larger community is something that I'm interested in doing.
Fantastic. And also, you are running for City Council.
Yes.
And we are excited to kind of get a view of your platform and what you are going to bring to the table in York.
Well, what I'm hopeful to do more than anything else is to support Kim Bracey as our new mayor. We need to foster good relationships within our greater community and hopefully bring people to the table that haven't been to the table before. Clearly, we can't continue doing what we have been doing over the course of the last 10 years because while we're ahead, we're not ahead enough. And we certainly are on the way to some potentially terrible crises. So whatever we can do to focus on a whole new strategic plan is something that I'm interested in doing.
That's wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit more about just your life over the past 34 years in New York and what you have done to make it just a home for yourself and your wife and your family?
Well, I guess having children and watching them grow up, being part of the soccer team at York High, although it was a terrible losing soccer teams, both my sons played there. But it's just been a full experience, making wonderful friends. And in fact, we have a dinner club that grew up. We call it the Farquhar Club because we live right close to Farquhar Park. And many of the same couples. We've been doing this for 25, 26 years. Many of the same couples still live in the city. Some of them actually in the same houses as we do. So it's an exciting, we've made a life here. And I love it.
Yeah, and so do we. And we thank you so much for coming out today and giving us a little glimpse into what your life is like here and what you have to offer to City Council. And we're excited to see you involved in the future. So thank you so much for coming out today.
Well, thank you, and we'll see you in about a week. whether I make it or not.
Absolutely.